Hey YouTube, how's it going? So I just did my Instagram live on gaining muscle mass, and usually I film the live events, put them right up on YouTube for you, and something happened, and I thought that it was filming and it wasn't. So I'm going to go over what we just chatted about. This is going to be a short video, 5 minutes or so, but it's going to be all about gaining muscle mass, common misconceptions, the problems that most people have, and how we can get past those problems. And if we take everything down, right, if we get past the beginner stuff, I assume that you've been researching this quite a bit. You've been trying to gain muscle mass for at least a pretty significant period of time, and you can't do it. I want to get down to the nitty gritty, the smaller details. And the three takeaways that I want you to have today are: we need to be anabolic as much as possible all day long. I'm going to explain that in a second. And then I want to talk about, do we feel that we need to be in a caloric surplus to gain muscle mass? And then I want to talk about training intensity. So anabolic all day, what does that mean? So that means that we have a consistent source of food or protein and our body's in a state where it's growing or repairing, right? Now we'll be growing or repairing as long as our workout intensity is high. So being anabolic all day is really important. And the reason why it's really important is because we spend X amount of time in the gym, busting our butts, right? And then we have our recovery nutrition, we have our supplements. We spend a lot of money on all of this. But then for the rest of the day, we don't have consistent meals. We don't have consistent protein. And we're catabolic, meaning our body is eating lean muscle tissue for energy throughout the rest of the day because we're not properly fueled. And if that's the case, there's no reason to even go to the gym, right? That has to be on autopilot from day one. We need to make sure that from the get-go, we have a consistent source of protein every 2 to 3 hours. We're fueled. Our body's in a state where it doesn't feel that it's starving for energy. And then we can go to the gym, break down muscle mass in hopes that the nutrition that's supplying our lifestyle and our workouts is enough to regain muscle mass and build bigger muscles, right? So that's the most important thing. So being anabolic all day is absolutely number one. The second part of it is, do we need to be in a caloric surplus? Do we need to be in a caloric surplus? And for those of you that don't know what that means is, do we need to consume more calories on a daily basis than we expend? We expend calories at rest and we expend calories at action. That adds up to a total, right? Let's say we're at rest. We're burning 2,000 calories from the second we wake up to the second we go to sleep, and then we're burning 500 additional calories through our exercise throughout the day. So that's 2,500 calories that day, 2,500 calories that day, and a caloric surplus would be consuming more than 2,500 calories. So the question that everybody debates, do we need to be in a caloric surplus? And the answer is yes, but it's also no for the majority of us out there, because training intensity isn't high enough to make a change. And when training intensity, how intense your training, isn't high enough to force the body to make a change, no matter the fuel that we put in the body, all the other incentives that we give the body to make a change and gain muscle mass, it's not going to make a difference, because intensity isn't dictating a demand for change. And I use the word demand quite frequently because it's really important that we understand we have to demand our body to make a change, because we're created to be efficient. If we don't need big biceps, if our brain doesn't think that we need big biceps to survive, I promise you, you will not have big biceps. The only way for you to get big biceps is to convince your body that you need big biceps to carry out the daily tasks that you're going to have for the rest of your life. How do we do that? We work out all day long, right? We do an intense training session. We convince the body, hey, this is life, right? Intensity is going to be high. This is life. You need to adapt. So you adapt by growing bigger muscles. So demand and workout intensity is super important. When that is high and fluctuating from high, going a little bit lower, and then changing the demand and intensity with volume and weight, when that's all set up nice and strong, then it comes down to caloric surplus. Then we need the building blocks to create more muscle mass, right? We're breaking down muscle mass. We need enough food to get us back to where we started, and then more food to get us past that. It's quite simple, right? But first, for 99% of us, 90% of the time, the intensity is not high enough to worry about a caloric surplus. So make sure your intensity is high as possible. And then, yes, we need to be in a caloric surplus. The next common question, how much? So I never suggest being in more than a 500 calorie caloric surplus on a daily basis, because I don't think that we've created enough demand in the gym for us to need 1,000 calories plus to rebuild at that rate. I just don't think it makes any sense. On the other side of it, when we're losing weight, I don't suggest anybody be deficient of more than 500 calories. So that's the balance, 500 calories. And again, that's going to be personal. When you're bigger or you're smaller, that number is going to fluctuate. But for me, it's 500 calories. So calculating how many calories you're burning regularly at rest, how many calories you're burning in a workout, having a total, tracking how much you eat, making sure that's a surplus, and making sure intensity is high. Boom, you're going to gain muscle mass no matter what. To me, that's a guarantee. You know, barring all other circumstances that are very personal and very unique. The other question that I get all the time in the subject matter that I love is the subject matter of hard gainers. So this hard gainer term is referring to people that have a hard time gaining muscle mass. It's real, right? And everybody has a different genetic makeup, but the majority of the time, what I see with hard gainers is that you're not eating enough. You might sit down and eat an entire pizza in one sitting, but then you go 9 hours without eating. And that comes back to being anabolic, right? You're not anabolic. So you're having a huge meal, and it's right after your workout. That's great. And then for the rest of the day, you're burning muscle mass because you don't have fuel to fuel yourself for the rest of the day, and you're becoming catabolic. And that's why you're not gaining muscle mass. You need to be consistent. If you're a hard gainer out there and you feel that you can't gain muscle mass, show me caloric surplus that day for real. Like how much you burned, how much you ate, and show me a caloric surplus for a day, then for a week, and then for a month. You're in a caloric surplus for a month, and then tell me you're not gaining muscle mass. I guarantee you if you really track your day, you're not in a caloric surplus. And even if you are that day, the majority of the time throughout a week, you're not. And that's what I see with people all the time. I see people that say they can't gain muscle and I eat all the time, but you really don't. You have big meals, but overall, it's not that many calories. Another question we had on the live today that was interesting. Do I believe that you can be a vegetarian and gain muscle mass? My answer to that is absolutely. I believe that plant protein is an amazing source of protein as well. And the majority of us aren't gaining muscle mass because intensity is low. So increasing intensity, increasing calories, and then having enough plant protein is good enough. I think that's shown because there's a ton of vegan and vegetarian athletes out there that perform at the highest level in the entire world, right? So it can be done. What else? What other questions did we have on the live today? I'm trying to recall them. I didn't write any of them down. Another question could be, the best way to train for intensity. So do we bring intensity up by increasing weight or volume? The answer is both, right? So we can bring weight up and have low rep, high weight one day. And when the body adapts and gets ready to be able to suit that kind of workout, we do the opposite. And then we do the opposite and the opposite and the opposite and the opposite. That causes shock. Shock causes demand for growth. Demand for growth with a supply of calories causes bigger muscles. So yes, that works. We want to play both back and forth. And then the last question that I got is how do we gain muscle mass but keep functional strength? This is what I preach all day long, but it's having a combination of resistance and body weight training. And the reason why I do that is because the resistance or weight training exercise is great for causing high intensity in that workout, and then pairing that with body weight exercises keeps functionality and strength as well. Combine them, and you'll be good to go. And as I mentioned in the live, our Gain Muscle Mass free course, completely redone, super excited, is coming out today, right now. That link is going to be in your bio, and I believe I might be able to post it up here in a video somewhere. But if not, not in the bio, I'm sorry, it's going to be in the description below of this video. So sign up. In the next 48 hours, we're taking 100 people into that free course. It's got interactive videos, worksheets, interactive workshops, everything. In 7 days, you're going to know everything you need to know about gaining muscle mass. So we're taking 100 people in 48 hours. Once we get 100, it's cut off. So that should be in the description, or it's going to be popping up on the screen somewhere right about now. So thanks for coming on. What's the next subject matter you want to learn about? Make it in the comments below, and I'll do an Instagram live on it and a YouTube video on it as well. Have a great day.